Today, the top 2 seeds enter the competition, and Masters Tokyo is on the line. Hello, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the VCT Americas playoffs. Of course, we're here live at the Riot Games Arena in beautiful Los Angeles, California. I am Golden Boy, the guy yelling currently. I'm joined by Mimi and Sean Gares, the big brain. Welcome back, buddy. How you feeling?
Feels good to be here. Feels good. Playoffs?
Yeah.
Some crazy games yesterday.
How was the coach stream yesterday?
Oh, it was long. I was being here.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure, Mimi.
It's been so long yesterday, but this is definitely like the biggest day for the 4 teams playing for their entire season throughout 2023. Yeah. If you win today, you qualify not just to Masters Tokyo, but also to Champions Los Angeles. This is just like really the day to decide it all.
Yeah, and based on the upsets for day 1, and the fact that Cloud9 got this bye, today we have an EG versus Cloud9. One of them is going to Tokyo. This is insane.
Nuts. Yeah, I mean, Bala kept saying it to us. What a way to start this playoffs. Am I right? It's incredible. Bala's so on the money. In any case, so guys, let's go ahead and talk about what went down on our stage yesterday in our opening matchup of the playoffs. It was, of course, the 4th seed Leviathan. They were taking on Furia in what was genuinely a marathon. And we all felt it. I felt it in my knees, and I didn't even run. But it was an incredible matchup, really, to just show how far both of these teams have come throughout the split.
This match was crazy because if it wasn't for the second map, ridiculous overtime on Pearl that went like 40 rounds back and forth.
It would be forgettable.
It would have been like the cleanest 2-0 ever because both map 1 and 3 was just dominant from Furia. They came in with a good idea of how to play against Leviathan, had some of that prep that so many teams have had against them, but also just had ridiculous confidence to consistently take these risky plays and find success with them.
Yeah, and this was a Leviathan that I thought did a lot of things different compared to the problems we saw in the regular season. We saw Taco step up yesterday, and Furia just put them down. It was top-level Furia, I thought, yesterday, particularly on map 1 and 3, like you said. But I'm even impressed they took Leviathan to OT on Pearl, where they've struggled in the past.
Yeah. Even when Leviathan has not been playing super well, their pro's always been fantastic, and it was no exception there. Off of kind of a slump at the end of the season, it seems like Furia is back just at the right time.
Yeah, at the right time. Speaking of the right time, our next matchup actually fits this narrative perfectly well because it was an NA grudge match. You had EG take on NRG for the second time, by the way, in 5 freaking days. Mimi, that is tough to prepare for, but yet EG came out guns blazing.
If you told me that EG and NRG were going to be playing each other in the playoffs, and that EG won at the beginning of the season, I would call you a lunatic because this is an absurd upset, especially coming off of that first game. Just last week you were talking about it. It was like 13-5, 13-7, NRG beating EG.
Yeah, they look
but they come back, they play up to the level that we've seen from them in other games and pull off this insane victory.
It's not even just that they got the upset. It's all of the narratives behind it that you're saying. We tout NRG as this team that always wins the rematch. Their prep is insane. Yesterday, that was all EG.
They got prep diffed.
They got prep diffed by Potter yesterday, and Demon 1 was dropping bombs on them all day.
Yeah.
It was such a sight to see. Honestly, it was a crazy upset story where EG won 0 pistols throughout the series.
And that now sets today up for just some ludicrous games. Like we already said, 2 teams are qualifying to both of their remaining global events, and EG and C9 are 2 teams with the opportunity. Another series where if you told me this at the beginning of the season, that would have been crazy. And we also have this regional matchup between Loud and Furia that was such a good game last time.
Yeah, it's going to be excellent. Obviously, NRG Leviathan not out of the competition yet. As you can see, they're in the lower bracket awaiting the losers of our next 2 matchups. But you're right, Mimi. This sets up stakes so high for both of these teams here. Win here, you go to Tokyo. You punch your name into the history books. First matchup will be Furia versus Loud, a Brazilian show match. And then, obviously, we will go to the NA showdown. And we swear it was not planned like this, okay? I want to be abundantly clear here before any shenanigans happen on Reddit. But in any case, so guys, we saw a ton of clutch plays on this stage yesterday. So good. But it's time to change things up a little bit here. We're going to have a little bit of a palate cleanser, shall we? Let's see the anti-clutches that were sent in by our incredible viewers in a new segment of What Ya Got. And of course, let's just go ahead and move on. What is the worst way to blow an ace? Well, guys, whatever you're thinking probably can't top this. Let's take a look at it.
These always blow my mind.
Oh, is it Yeti? This is the cinematic observer for the show, by the way. Surely he kills the Phoenix, right?
Yeah,
make sure you follow Yeti on Twitter.
Surely.
Okay.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
That's fine.
Okay.
A chamber now?
Surely.
But surely they don't lose this round.
This isn't happening.
Surely they don't lose this round.
This isn't happening.
No.
What?
No.
What? No, They lose. They lose. He's greeting for the ace, and the enemy chamber aces.
An ace for an ace. That's
such a chamber moment. I'm glad that no one plays that ace anymore. I hate that ace.
That's so funny.
That hurts. Okay, well, you know what? Next up, it's Mimi's favorite thing. Oh, yeah. It's the jet battles. That's right. And these jets are just out here diffing everyone else. Let's look at this.
Oh,
look at this skill. Nailed it. This is like watching me play.
Yes.
Dude, this is
Thanks, Sean.
They got this from me.
I like this dash, reposition. Oh, clean, clean. Knife. No.
There's an extra knife in the blade storm.
What the hell did we just watch?
That guy's movement was clean.
It was like I was watching like a really bad version of John Wick, where like everyone's just missing their shots constantly. Oh my goodness gracious! All right, well, let's go ahead and move on because we have feuding streamer Baby J posted this clip earlier of a sheriff kill that he got from EG's Screwface. Here it is. So this is, of course, going to be.
Oh. No, he just quit.
Poor Screwface. Oh, buddy.
Oh, no.
Oh, honey. Actually, can we see that one again? I would really like to see.
Let's not.
Wait, no.
I would really like to see that one again. That was so. There we go. Look at this. Oh my gosh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Shots 1 through 6 clearly missed.
Bro, real talk. That's why I never use a sheriff. Honestly, I'm butt cheeks with it. You'll never catch me with that weapon. All right, now in response though to that previous clip, here's the thing: Screwface decided to clap back, return the favor, and show Baby J's phantom prowess for full display. Let's look at this here.
Oh dear.
Here's Baby J.
I like that he plugged both his TikTok and his Twitter in this clip.
That's right.
Yeah. And Insta right there.
And Insta. Oh, got everything.
All the socials.
Okay.
Nailed it.
Oh, that's.
These shots are going exactly where they need to be.
Look at his mini map.
Yep. Those shots are.
Oh no.
He was just warming it up.
Yeah.
He was just warming it up.
He was
just
giving
wanted to let him
warning
know.
shots to that jet.
Hey guys, I'm Top Cat. I'm over here. Come look at me. You know, like maybe a little bit of that.
Something like that. Can't have been real.
Well, much love to Baby J. He's a Halo boy. You know, gotta look out for my homies. But here's the thing, guys. If you want to be featured or shamed on the broadcast, why don't you go ahead and make use of those darn hashtags that people love so much? VCT Americas and VCT. Hashtag. Use that and then post it and share your clips with us because we want to see all the awful and amazing clips from you. But coming up next, we're going to have a deep dive on our first match of the day. It's Loud versus Furia, and we're going to be joined by a very special guest. So don't go anywhere. We'll see you on the other side.
I'm really glad they haven't found my clips.
I'm glad they
Yeah,
We'll
makes
find
me
it.
happy. No.
Agora faz abate o Arce agora. O Xão! Aspas! Levou o King. Olha ele. Calil!
Welcome back, one and all, to VCT Americas Playoffs. Now let's go ahead and talk about today's first match. It's a battle of Brazil with the #1 seed Loud taking on the 5th seed Furia. And joining us is the coach of MIBR and the homie Bazooka. Pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. Always a blast to get a chance to talk to you. First and foremost, I mean, obviously I know the split didn't go the way you guys would have wanted, but how was the experience overall, just being here, being in LA, participating in something like this?
It's my pleasure to be here. And I think this split was very hard for us because we started very well, and during the competition we dropped down some very bad maps for us. So it was a really hard experience, but at the same time, it was really good. Like everyone is evolving, everyone's getting more experience, and we're just evolving as a team.
That's awesome. That's good to know. And obviously, you know, we cannot wait to see MIBR take the stage again in the future. But let's go ahead and talk about this matchup here, because we have the 2022 champs who you coached them to that championship. And this is the thing. Loud, they could be going to Tokyo and champions again. And this is actually incredibly doable because they have done this before. What makes this Loud team so special and why they have dominated this region for so long?
The structure Loud have inside the game is very good. I think they have some keys inside the team that's like Sedak as the EGL and Aspas and Les. They're just amazing players. They just make the core of the team make it work. So even with the new guys joining up, Tuis and Kawanzin, they are just able to keep some protocols that the team already had and just keep doing all the season. And they are making new meta as well.
Yeah, and throughout their run thus far in the season, nearly going flawless bar the one loss to NRG, but one thing that has stayed constant for this team is that they just do not lose to other Brazilian teams. The last time that these two squads played in the regular season, it was when Furia was on the upswing. People thought that this team could be a contender for the top 4, was a likely candidate to go to Tokyo, but Loud came out and utterly shut them down, and that was kind of the beginning of the end for Peak Furia until the game we saw from them just yesterday.
Yeah, what Loud did to Furia the first time these teams matched up was crazy. Ospas was like 11-0 on first duels when you looked at the stat page earlier, and they just looked so comfortable throughout this series. So I guess my question to you, Bazooka, is what's the mindset like in the Loud camp? Because as an outsider, it looks like Furia's this insane team. GG can pop up at any moment. But then when Loud plays their Brazilian foes, they just put them down. And I don't know how they do it. So like, what's the mindset when they play like little bro from their region?
We from Brazil, we do have a lot of respect between every team in our region. So, but at the same time, Loud usually play like Heineken games against every player from Furia, and they know very well how each team likes to play the game. And Loud's very good in adapting the game and making the reads they need to do. So I think the way that Loud's able to adapt to what Furia likes to does, like the extremely aggressive plays, they are very good on that.
Yeah, and I think that's, you know, again, obviously it's the reason why they're at the position that they're in right now, why they're such heavy favorites to make their way over to Tokyo, and despite, you know, major roster changes, despite losing their coach as well, they still managed to look great. Even at lock-in, they had 2 new players, they incorporated them into the system, and it was absolutely beautiful. Mimi, this team has proven that not only can they play at the top level with the roster that they already had, they won champions for goodness sake, but also the fact that they could just incorporate these people into these teams.
Yeah, it was incredible how quick this turnaround was, from picking up 2 new players, Tuis and Kawanzin, to then going all the way to the grand finals and almost reverse sweeping Fnatic. And I think that early success will mean even more in this matchup to Loud, because this is their chance to qualify not just 2 champions, but also 2 Masters Tokyo. This is a chance to make good on their loss against Fnatic. That final match, they really let it slip away after a 9-3 advantage in the first half. And I'm sure they're also looking to defend that title. They could have an opportunity to be the only team to go back-to-back, winning 2 championships in a row.
And that's so insane. They have 2 new players and a new coach, and Sadak is at the head of this new meta, right? This Harbor Viper meta that they have bursted onto the scene. One of the best teams in the world starting this meta is such a crazy thing to see. Is this something that was brought up in the team last year, Bazooka? Because, I mean, no one was playing Harbor before these guys.
Yeah, the meta was changing a lot after the champions, mainly because of the chamber nerf. So when they brought Kawanzin and Tuis, they knew like they had new players, and Tuis was learning a new role. So like, since you are learning a new role, instead of learning Omen or instead of learning Astra, let's give a try to learn Harbor. That's what I think that they followed, and it just made it work. Like it does make a sense. Like we have a lot of walls, you have a lot of skies. Utility should just be breaking the walls on, and it just makes sense.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask more about Sadak as an IGL, because beyond kind of innovating this meta that everyone's now playing across the world in Harbor Viper, he's also managed to have incredible consistency in developing young talent. When Ospas and Les came into this team, they were very young, new players and got developed into champions. And it seems like he's doing the same thing again with Tuis and Kawanzin. How do you think he manages to have such consistency in bringing up these young players?
Yeah, I think Sadak is one of the biggest minds inside the game, inside VALORANT. The way he deals with the game, and he's able to let the players play the way they want to play. They can play loose, and at the same time, he still has some really strict protocols to have inside the game.
Yeah.
So I think Sadak is just the amazing EGL and one of the best in the world right now.
Yeah, he just continues to impress, and it also helps when you have so many tools at your disposal, right? Kind of like, you know, that guy over there, because that is going to take us over to Aspas, who is, of course, the #1 player pretty much in every major category, and you can see it right there. And I wouldn't be shocked, Mimi, if he ends up taking KDA #1 at the end of this matchup as well, given how good he's been playing.
What Aspas has been able to do and the consistency he's been able to find is frankly ridiculous. Whenever this team stumbles, they lose the map in the regular season, he's the guy who steps up, has a massive performance to bring them back into it. And on top of that, the way he gets these kills is so impressive. He's like the best site anchor in the league, I feel, while playing Jet. It's absurd.
Yeah, it's crazy watching Aspas on this team because they use him like a sentinel, right? A lot of times they'll put him on the opposite side of a Killjoy or a Viper, and he's meant to just lock down the site. And his movement is what makes him so special in my eyes. Subconsciously, the guy is just dashing away from people, updrafting away from kills, dropping cloud bursts to reposition, and it's always perfect. Every peak is perfect when you watch him. It's so thought out, so well done. I don't know how to stop him. I don't know how Energy pulled it off.
It seems impossible. And Bazooka, you've worked with this guy. You got to coach him. What has his development as a player been like, and how does he practice to stay so good? He just seems like really an unmatched talent.
Yeah, he's just like a little kid that loves to play the game. So it's really weird because even if you try to, okay, let me show you some strategic part of the game, let me teach you some stuff different, and he understands that, but he just want to keep playing the game, you know, he just get in the flow really easy during a match, and it's just like Shingari said, like, he's playing as an anchor most sides, you know, like, so if you go into a Viper in a Killjoy side, it's hard, but if you go in the other side, you have Aspas, so it's very hard to play against Loud.
It's almost as if it feels like they're cheating.
It's like Aspas go kill.
It really is. It really is, man. It's been such an incredible journey for this team. And imagine the pressure of playing, you know, not only on this stage, but Lock-In, Tokyo as well. The extra pressure of being a rookie. And then, of course, having to fill in for champions. You have Tui's and Cowan-Team. They have gone above and beyond in their world stage debut. Let's take a look.
Last year, we won champions, and that was a huge accomplishment for us as a team and organization. We had Sasi and Pancada as the 4th and 5th player. Coming into this year, the organization decided to make some changes, so we picked up Tuis and Kawang to fill those player roles, and for myself to take over the helm as the head coach of the team. I think the expectation of these players to come in and replace a couple guys that helped win the championship is a lot of pressure on them.
Pô, acho que no início eu fiquei um pouco ansioso porque os loucos, eles fizeram uma história muito grande no ano passado.
Cara, a pressão sempre tá lá. Acho que isso só dá mais garra da gente continuar se esforçando muito para tentar dar mais um campeonato mundial para Loud.
We were looking for players that are very young, moldable, guys that we can kind of teach the structure, teach how to play in a specific manner. I would say both players individually are very unique. Tuis, he was pretty much a duelist, so he has an aggressive mentality about the game. Now he's playing a different, more controller role, two polar opposite roles. He's playing a lot of new agents, he's playing a lot of Harbor, so sometimes it could be a rough game, and it's not necessarily his fault. He's someone that's very intense, and sometimes I feel like he is too hard on himself. By the same time, that's kind of the passion that I really value in a player. Even if he's not playing up to his standard, him being a good teammate is probably the most important aspect of what he brings and what we all as a team look for.
Cada match, cada dia que tem treino, eu fico pego mais confiança nessa role. Conquistar o título da Américas vai ser muito importante também pelo seu título, mas também, particularmente, mostrar minha evolução como jogador e adaptação na nova role, sabe?
Someone like Kawang, He was always considered one of the top Sovas in the region, probably besides Sasi. So, you know, it was fairly smooth for someone like Gawan to step into what we were trying to accomplish.
Então, agora na Loud, estou aprendendo bastante sobre táticas e sobre essas coisas de como se jogar em um time, basicamente, por assim dizer. Aprendi sobre o jogo com eles me ensinaram bastante coisa sobre time, de como spotar, de time de drone e essas coisas.
Pô, o Kawan é um dos caras que eu vi que, tipo, é mais talentoso, sabe? Tipo, o cara tem estrela, não tem como, tipo... Um round que tá muito difícil, ele vai trazer e você fica de cara com as jogadas que o cara faz, tanto que...
He's only 17 years old, so at the same time, you know, sometimes I always have to sit back and realize that, you know, he's still very young. He has a lot of potential that he hasn't even reached yet. But what him and the other guys on the team have is they kind of have this like old soul about them and just a passion and dedication to be the best. He obviously joined the championship team just like Luis, and they're not falling short of any of the expectations, and they're putting in the work. We're trying to replicate the success that we had as a unit. So even if they do feel pressure, they have to understand that it's not just on them, it's on the guys that were on the team, it's on myself. One single person is not gonna push us over the edge. There's a lot of signs that this team has that kind of championship makeup to it. We just really have to focus, and you know, I think that one day that their dreams will come true that way.
Boa, Luis, que round! Amassou, velho.
Acho que sim, podemos ser o melhor time da Américas, também por ser um grupo muito bom e muito unido. Eu acho que todo mundo que tá aqui tá pelo sonho e todo mundo tem o mesmo objetivo, então...
Cara, pra mim é um sonho realizado. Cara, pra mim levantar o troféu tão cedo, assim, com 17 anos, é um sonho realizado. Na verdade, eu gostaria de levar o troféu com qualquer idade, mas já tá realizando isso tão cedo. É um sonho muito, muito grande, que pra mim é distante, mas agora a gente tá chegando perto e vamos ver.
Loud continues to dominate the top of the mountain, but let's go ahead and move on to their opponents. It's Furia. They went the distance and then some with Leviathan. It was a 38-round OT. That was just nuts. I still can't believe that they played 38 rounds in that one game, Amy.
It was an absurd game out of Furia, but they weren't able to pull it over the line on that map, and it instead came down to map 1 and 3 to define this series. And Furia's play was so impressive, because coming out of the regular season, they were really in this slump after losing to Loud. It was 3 series losses in a row. It was barely scraping by tiebreakers to make it into playoffs. But in that game, I think we saw a return to the Furia that got people excited, the one who can come in with good ideas, good preparation, but also rely on the individual play and the risk-taking to pull them over the line.
Yeah, and I do question whether like some of those North American teams just gave Furia like a lot of problems to close out their schedule. It seemed like they struggled when they switched like the style of team that they were playing against. And then now kind of coming into the playoffs again, it looks like they've recentered, they've focused back on, you know, the comps that work best for them. And today against the Loud is going to be really interesting because I think the map pool works so well for Furia today.
And what pulled them over the line in this series was the 4v5s. This team is really fantastic at losing an early advantage and then still finding their way to claw back into these rounds. The individuals in the mid-round, in particular, Dujizin, is so willing to find that gap, find an opportunity, and it makes them such a difficult team to play against.
Since we have 2 coaches here, I think it would be really cool to ask this question regarding the 4v5s, right? Because that is an absurd win rate stat for that. trainable? Is that teachable? Or is that a natural thing? I'm curious to hear what you guys think. Do you think that it's something that they trained on? Sean, we'll start with you.
Sure. I think based on watching them play, they set up DG really well a lot of these rounds. He's the first blood leader in the entire stage by far. It's not even close, actually. And I think because of that, he's getting them a lot of 5-on-4s, obviously. But there's also a lot of 4-on-5s that they're put in because he's so aggressive. And they know how to play in those scenarios because it's their system, right? If you and I were to just make a team and I would just be inting you into 4-on-5s, you would lose the vast majority of those rounds. But it's way different for Furia because they set up DG and they have kind of contingency plans around him.
Yeah, interesting. What about for you?
Yeah, and like make a preparation to play like rounds 4v5 is almost impossible to like cover everything that can happen in the game. But one thing that Furia is very good is adapting themselves individually. Yeah. And since they don't have so many protocols, they can just play free inside the map, and that's what makes them being able to pull out so many 4v5 situations.
Interesting. Yeah, it's that free flow uniqueness that allows them to be creative despite the fact that they're going up against a full stack.
With a lot of individual skills.
Yeah. Again, it constantly blows my mind away. Another player who has just always been impressive and also is the dapper sniper. We got to talk about him. The Drip King himself is DigiZ, man. This guy, not only is, I say this every time and I have no problem saying it every single time, he's the coolest person in the world, but also on top of that, he's a damn good player. What makes DigiZ so unique on this roster? And why is it to me, he's felt like Brazil's best kept secret for such a long time?
Yeah, I think DigiZ was one of the best players in Brazil for a while, but was never able to find a team that fits at his style. And now Furia, he has MW0 and has Khalil, he has so many good talents that like to play with so much confidence inside the game, and that's just the way he likes to play the game, and that's how he feels actually to get inside the flow.
If there's one thing for this team, it is just, like you're saying, that they exude confidence. It goes down to this guy as an individual and how ridiculous he is as a player, but also to their style that we've been talking on, being so willing to invest really all of their resources into an individual in these early rounds, gambiting away constantly at the beginning on this individual player, but having that trust and faith that the rest of the team, even if it doesn't work out, will be able to close these rounds.
But the trust and faith even go beyond the round or within the game for DG. He has the faith and trust to pick agents like Chamber or Neon and crazy picks like that when his Jet is just S tier. Like, we watch his Jet and he can take over any game, but yet he has the freedom and the confidence to be able to change up the picks and drastically change up the play styles within this team. And I think that's what makes him so unique. I know some of those kind of flop throughout this stage, but in the long term, that's such a good mindset.
Yeah, and also another thing too, his maturity as well, right? I mean, actually, he just put a post-match tweet, I believe it was yesterday, where, you know, he basically said he woke up in a fever, he had anxiety, but, you know, he kept his faith and he kept himself very much, like, prepared for this moment, right? And I think, for me, the cool thing was him saying, days are being tough, but my mind is armored. We shall be strong. That is freaking cool. Also,
that's
you know, Portuguese is just a beautiful language altogether, so I'm sure it sounded a lot better in that. But yeah, I mean, what is it about DigiZ that has made him just such a force on this team outside of his gameplay? Because it feels like as a person, he carries that with him a lot.
Yeah, he's confident in everything he does in his life. We used to call him Maridão in Brazil. That's his nickname there. And he just like to play the game. And it's a little different from Aspas because Aspas like play more loose, but DigiZ just do everything with so much confidence, and he takes so many risks for his team, but he gets points. He gets kills where he does his plays.
Yeah. And the thing is, we've seen these moments from him and from this Furia team. They really are a squad that can step up to these big games and find the win like they did against Leviathan. But they've also still been living in the shadow of Loud. In their entire history, all through last year, couldn't get a single win. The only international events they would qualify for is when 2 Brazilian teams was brought in for champions. And it's really the question now for Furia of if that is still the case, if this is still the team living under Loud, or if they're finally good enough to find an upset, to make it to an international event on their own accord.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to have to find out today is can DG live up to Aspas, get past that 11-0 first blood from earlier in this stage?
It's going to be awesome, guys. Well, folks, we have 4 teams that are looking to punch their ticket to Tokyo. You win, you're in. It's Loud versus Furia. Cloud9 versus Evil Geniuses. Day 2 of VCT Americas starts right now. This stream contains fast-flashing images that may affect viewers who are susceptible to photosensitive epilepsy or other photosensitivities. Viewer discretion is advised. is do or die for a lot of these teams.
It's that culmination. Who's going to be going to Masters?
Quer finalizar esse cara? Vai contra outro!
One enemy remaining.
Who's that? The knives in his hands and 4 kills.
If there's one thing we've learned about VCT Americas, is that there's always a chance.
É, Jezinho! Faz o Calil, olha ele! Calil!
A double swing coming across, and Victor! Oh! The trigger discipline to let up the 2 and a spike.
What was that? He's got it down to 1v1. Oh my God!
Ter chegado aqui e qualificado no primeiro lugar para os playoffs tem sido algo incrível, uma sensação única.
More 1v1 potential.
That's not moving in, that's 3. One more to go.
You're kidding.
And an easy one for Loud.
É o favorito para ir para Tóquio, mas a gente teve uma nova oportunidade, a gente vai, mano, agarrar com todas as forças, vai dar o máximo.
And so many targets to choose from. He's punished a jump spot.
A gente conhece os jogadores há muito tempo já, há anos, e faz que os jogos sejam muito divertidos e muito pegados. Então vai ser uma loucura.
All the way through, jumping with the shorty. Mazine to do the most.
So, do that.
Riot Games Arena, it's time for the first match of the upper bracket semifinals. Eles já ganharam ontem e querem ganhar muito mais. Recebam QCK, DGZ, Mazin, MWZera, Kalil e o treinador Carlão. Recebam a Fúria!
To do, I gotta reload, let me call you tomorrow. I got tests when I'm finished, but I keep it moving. If I step in the process, you gon' run out my time, I need it, it's crucial. It's lapping the top of the mountains where eagles will ride, they find me, it's higher than never. You cannot fly, so run me, get down, make it minute, I push, I've been on the way. I got no time to look back, and my family gon' need some more cheddar, so let's get it poppin'. Tell me to put it, but set up, you should not, but never been better. You can really count it, fine. Bumpin', I'm crossing the line, we ready to sign, yeah, oh. Can I get out of my way, they shouldn't know what I'm trying, yeah, oh. Don't want me showing my might have some blood on my tooth, yeah, oh. I kinda settle the beef, so Lord, forget what I do. I'm at the top, yeah. Been at the top of the mountain, I'm higher than never, yeah. Might have to settle like calling for all my endeavors, yeah.
Os oponentes, a primeira colocada do VCT Américas, aspas, Les, Sadak, Kawanzin, Twis e o treinador Frode. É a campeã do Champions 2022, a Loud.
And here we go. Loud versus Furia. You couldn't have asked for a better way to kick off the day than with these two fine Brazilian squads that are going to look to take it to one another here. For Loud, it's going to be all about maintaining their form, get to the champions, get to Tokyo. But for Furia, it's an opportunity to upset the world.
Loud's history in these situations is incredible. They are yet to lose to another Brazilian team since the creation of this squad. And now in the second iteration, with Tui's and Kawanzin added, they want that chance back at a global event. The game versus Fnatic slipped away from them. They were just 4 rounds away from claiming that title. It eluded them. And now winning here, defeating their regional rival in Furia, gives them an opportunity to have that rematch, to have another chance for an international title, not just in Tokyo, but in Los Angeles as well.
And for Furia, Mimi, I think this is the hardest test they've ever had to face. And not only are they facing like the #1 team in this region today, the #1 team from their home country, but they're doing it after 1 day. one day from their prior match. This is such a hard task for Furia today. And I think they're gonna have some tricks in the veto process.
And they only just escaped from the slump that came after they lost to Loud in the regular season. It was 3 match losses in a row to end their season, but versus Leviathan, they had a resurgence. We'll see if that upward trajectory can bring them a close match or even a win against Loud today.
Yeah, and the match against from Furia against Leviathan yesterday gives a lot of chance for Loud to actually make some counter-strats and be more ready for this match than Furia is specifically, because they just had like a couple of hours to prepare for this match. I mean, their heads yesterday was all on Leviathan.
So interesting. Loud banned Pearl, a map that they've actually played a lot of throughout this stage. And Furia are going to start this off on Haven. They've won, I think, like 3 of 4 on Haven. They played all the NA teams in their last 4 games on it.
Oh, man.
Loud going into Ascent.
Yeah, Haven's been the best map for Furia, in my opinion. This will be the only 2 teams who play the Harbor Viper meta, the meta that Loud created here on Haven against one another. And map 2, the Heineken 0.0 Ascent, that one should also be so close. It's been home territory for Furia, but Loud is also incredible there.
Yeah, I mean, on Haven it's gonna be a very weird map to watch, because the whole team, the 2 teams, they don't have a good control on A side. They just need to keep playing for mid and C and double doors. So that's gonna be so many fights there.
Oh, interesting. You know, it's a wait. Is that bind we're ending out on?
Yeah, Loud has been floating.
We're ending out on bind.
But they are yet to show this map. This was a fantastic one for them back in 2022.
Yeah, this is crazy because the 2 maps Loud are undefeated on in this stage are actually Haven and Ascent.
Yep, I was going to say that. I was going to say they're undefeated on Haven and Ascent. They haven't played Bind. They've only played like 4 or 5 maps.
Yeah, they haven't even played Fracture, Bind.
This is scary.
Played, a couple maps once. It's crazy how they've got here.
And facing Loud on Haven is going to be so worrying. You both play the same composition, but last time they played this map, I think Loud showed so many different looks. They had like 4 different Viper walls. They had multiple different variations of their executes. In particular, on this attacking side, they're great at getting early control with a Cascade and a Sky Flash for their A lobby or C long. And with the Viper wall to condition lurks, they're able to really play with you in the mid round.
It's very scary, but we'll see how this plays out. Nothing really all that surprising knowing the draft, but I have to ask you though, you feel, despite knowing what you know about Haven, do you feel good about Furia on this, or do you think Loud again?
I mean, Furia, everything that makes Furia have a chance at this match is the Gzin, MW0 getting on point at the start of the game, because if they can create a momentum, it's really good for them for the rest of the series. In the same time, Loud would be affected by the momentum of the other teams. And we have seen Loud have a lot of troubles in the first map of the series, so.
It's going to be exciting, and we are ready to get this match started. So let's go ahead and send it over to your casters. Some call them the free RR. I call them Brennan Sideshow, or just the Brits.
Nah, I mean, that's just not true. If you come into me in ranked, listen, I'm telling you, best be dodging, because I'm stealing your RR. It's not even going to be close. Regardless, we've got a match on our hands.
We've got a great match.
And it's an important one, Josh. It is Loud versus Fury. It's that battle for the top 3 spot. Not only a battle for Masters Tokyo, but a battle for champions as well. If you win this match here and now, it is really just incredibly pivotal for the entirety of your VCT year of 2023.
This is going to be the most important game potentially that these 2 teams play possibly all year. And Furia are doing it 24 hours after an incredibly grueling victory to get themselves into this position. You heard Bazooka talk about how these 2 comps are going to clash in mid a lot. And here comes Furia walking down on the pistol.
There's a Cascade pushed up. Hides a lot of the information. Dash. The back pocket of the Gzin wants to take a fight straight to them. And he's not going to be winning that one. Dog to the side as well. It's covered though. Less. Dodging, juking side by side with a frenzy. 2 kills claimed. Aspas follows up. Khalil. It's the last one left. Not much to do. That is flawless, complete containment from Loud. And this is the gambit, this is the gamble for Furia when they're selecting a map like Haven. You're playing the mirror comp. This is Loud's territory. This is what they have not lost on the entirety of the season so far. And it's already looking like Loud are just, I mean, they're just different. I don't know, they're just different. They had the read.
We thought Furia had a great chance of finally delivering the first Brazilian upset against Loud in the regular season when they played against each other. And Loud absolutely smacked this team down. That pistol round makes it feel very much like the same thing happening again. And wow, QCK not given any room to maneuver there whatsoever. I mean, Loud sometimes, a lot of talk has happened over the course of this season about Loud looking vulnerable. And they've had some close games and they've lost some maps. They haven't been dominant in the same way that their, you know, EMEA rivals of Fnatic have been dominant.
Yeah.
And yet, they were undefeated for a long time. And in the big games, when it mattered or when they faced a rival that looked to be stepping up, they completely shut them down. They only had that one loss to NRG. And I feel like for a team like this Loud squad, they're big game players. They know when to turn up. And they're going to have practiced something for playoffs. Even if it's not a change of strategy, just a difference in form.
They have so many different looks and variations of this composition when they play on Haven.
Certainly do. I mean, both of these teams are really good at this Haven comp.
I believe this is the first time we've seen a mirror match of this like on Haven itself as well. I wonder how it's going to be playing out, the ins and outs of how teams operate. Are Furia going to be opting to try and flood in as well when a lot of these site hits happen, and they're going to be trying to play the full retakes with the double smokes? Yet to be seen. The great beginning for Loud. Nice 2-round lead heading into that bonus. About as best as they could have hoped for, really.
Yeah. Economy flowing, rifles on board.
Look at that. They got 4 rifles and a Bulldog.
Yeah, it's excellent. I mean, they managed their economy perfectly heading in here. But now we get to see where the clashes happen around the map. You heard Bazooka talk about how he was theorizing this composition, likes to play for a lot of mid and garage control on defense, because you can't really fight over this A lobby area as much. But I think Dejazine, he was looking for it for a moment. Snakebite puts him off.
And there's going to be a lot of emphasis, responsibility placed on the shoulders of a player like Dejazine. Where was that from?
That is just through the cracks. Double door garage into the back window.
Yep, Kawazine. That, the Bulldog.
What a punish. And that takes all of the Killjoy utility out. So you could either go into a fast hit, where you were expecting the KJ utility to be, or, as Sadak has opted for, cut noise a little and make Furia scared.
With the opening pick so far, the tempo that Loud have been playing at, they've been getting that opening, making sure not to rush things, but then they strike back around the minute mark. Like clockwork now, it's been repeated. Dejazine close to the corner, will not be able to get any sort of damage done. He falls, 2 players left standing for Mazine and QCK. The only thing you can do here is save. You've got to keep those rifles moving into the next one, but this is just sheer domination on display by Loud. I mean, at this point, almost making the claim that it's hubris to be taking him to a map like Haven.
I don't even think it's the map that's happening here. I mean, yes, they are playing the map wonderfully, but at this point, Kawanzine's just running around deleting people. And Khalil peaked for a very, very slim margin in Garage, got destroyed, and then Kawanzine also got the better end of MW.
And they're hunting the guns out.
We know that Furia are exceptional players in terms of their mechanics. You just watch any match that Dejazine and MW have taken over. You know?
Yeah.
You can see the talent there. I do sometimes wonder if there's a mental block in games like this when they go up against an opponent like Loud, but take a look at the kill column. Goose eggs.
Absolute goose eggs.
They haven't gotten a kill yet.
Stack of them.
And how could they?
Yeah, there's not even a chance. I mean, every single opening duel going away with Loud so far. And I think you're completely right on the money as well, talking about kind of that mental block of a team like Furia. You've gone up against Loud, I believe. This will be the 3rd time in these orgs' histories. And Loud do have that kind of big brother status in the region when it comes to it. I mean, it's another level to try and take the fight to the team that you know is dominant. They won champs. They made the finals of Lock-In. There it is! Okay, the kill on the board to get something rolling, but it's just barreling through. I mean, not a chance. Not a chance in the world. Loud getting into the post plant. Flash is going to be notifying them that Khalil's there. And, I mean, this is just... It's domination, Josh.
They're turning Furia into a paste. They're making mincemeat of them. Mazine's got 1 kill with a stinger. Okay, but now Furia, you know, at some point here, you need to take a deep breath. You need to level yourself and try and hold this back. Loud are grouping together, moving forward off their harbor utility, spraying through it, punishing, taking duels.
Yeah.
They have full control of the tempo. Furia have not been able to get anything done. They have 1 kill and they've called a timeout.
Yeah, this, there needed to be a bit of a reset here. You can just tell. Most opening duels were not going their way. In fact, almost all of them, with Mazine getting that 1 kill. That just occurred, by the way. That was in round 4. And so there needs to be a timeout. It needs to be a refresher. Sean was talking about it as part of our pre-show as well, just how difficult it is for teams when they are going back-to-back in terms of playing the matches. Furia just played yesterday. They had to prep now for Loud, the #1 seed in Americas. That was their next matchup. No time to really adjust to that. So you have to come in with a game plan. But right now, it's not even a game plan that's really been lacking. It's just been the fights.
Yeah.
They've just been losing these duels. I know that sounds simple to say, but sometimes Valorant does just come down to you're losing your gun duels.
That's definitely true. I think there are other things that Furia could be doing here, though, to set them up for more favorable fights. You know, they could try to be taking the fights on their terms by getting aggressive, by comboing utility. At the moment, what we're watching is Furia trying to hold a position, 1 spot, against an oncoming tide of harbor utility. And this looks more passive from Furia here with their A hold. Mazine and MW throw some early utility. They're unloading a lot of it, actually, just to try and keep Loud back.
3 players stacked up onto the A side. It's Furia trying to defend this one, but they waited out. They've got a pretty good indicator that Loud have taken some of that A lobby control, but from this point on, you just don't really know what direction they've gone, and Loud have completely cut noise.
Yeah, Dajazine has got good information behind the Viper wall over towards C, and they can hear somebody still jump spotting. Obviously, we can tell it's Sadark. What I'm worried about here, though, Brent, is that Tuiz has his Reckoning online already. This is not a fair fight in round 5, despite the fact that Furia have stacked the right place.
Try and hold close. You're probably not going to be favored. High Tide.
It's a good one.
Whips its way across, doesn't it? Cuts off 2 of the avenues, so there's a bit of time. And
this Reckoning's about to come.
Yeah. That's the last flash for MW0. He's not going to have anything to try and fight as his hit starts to come down. There's the Reckoning, like you were talking about. Snakebite into the corner to clear it close. Updraft dash onto the site now, and the rest of his team barreling forwards, taking the space into the corner. MW, he's skipped and crossed, and he was unnoticed, but not for much longer.
Nothing. They get nothing out of it. Loud perfection currently. Absolute perfection. Even with ignoring the player in the corner, cleaned up by the next people coming through the choke.
Yeah, I mean, every single element of utility that gets used, there's coverage there as well. You dash in, you're not going to be clearing the close corner, doesn't matter, your teammates have got your back.
They're absolutely diffing Furia. Dajazine and Khalil desperately just trying to keep what scraps of guns they can for the next round. And of course, the loss bonus is going to be maximized at this point, so they'll still be able to buy up around it. That's the 2nd kill that Furia have. And it's with Dajazine trying to save his op.
And they're just trying to hold back.
And he doesn't.
The onslaught as well. Doesn't save the operator. Doesn't save any guns at all. 5 in a row. At this point, Mortem running away with it.
I can't believe this. And Les and Aspas still haven't died. And Loud have been crushing. They've essentially not even had to show any of their strat book here because the A hits are simply working. Now they have another ultimate online. And Furia, because all they're doing is dying, they're not generating their ults.
No, not at all.
These are not fair rounds.
Operator over the wall. Don't give that one away. And I gotta say, the game plan, relatively simple. A lot of ideas with this attack side protocols from Loud. They're changing it up most of the time, exploring, trying to take out some of the utility from Khalil's setups. Pretty important to do. You can see that's the purpose of spamming there through the double doors. They're trying to get rid of the turret. They actually haven't done so.
But now as the high tide falls, they have an opportunity to do just that.
Yeah.
So they throw out their own wall there from Tuiz that goes up into C. It's not combined with the Viper wall, which was used on A this round. And that Viper wall has kept Dajazine and MW over on the opposite side of the map. It's Khalil that could be a danger here, but he is getting trapped in the lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown's close. This corner doesn't get held. No one's actually watching for this one, but Khalil needs to reposition. Out to the side, High Tide up in his face. He's going down with a ship. And well, it might just pay off for him. Still detained. Time, waiting it out. Sadak knows, close to the corner. There's another player waiting. And Khalil cannot do a thing about it.
The flank from C-Long.
And this is important. It's doubled up now. Spike's still not planted. Walls are going to start to fade. Aspas with a fight to win. A fight to claim into the spawn. Mazine wins it out. Critical. Crucial. Dujazine moves forward to the dash. Back to safety. It's up to Sadak. Last alive, but Furia on the cusp now. Putting a break into this momentum. Wall pushing past him forwards. Isolates the first fight. You cannot give Sadak these opportunities. But the orb, it's sliced up the site. And it's allowed him to reposition.
Furia can't lose this one.
Spike planted, you've got to play this one together right now. You cannot let this one slip, and they do not. MW, not the cleanest fight in the world, but one, regardless of all of that. And so a round on the board, finally, for Furia.
Team Ace.
Off a hero play, essentially. Holding their ground against the lockdown here. Khalil, he knew he was going down with the ship, like you said, but combined with QCK, and that flash didn't quite do enough. It's tough. The Harvey utility, I feel, has been absolutely crucial from Mazine in terms of slowing down Loud, but that's the first round where Furia have had any level of success. They have not even been close in the prior 5. Now it's about chaining things together, believing in yourself.
Sometimes that first round can be the hardest.
I've got your trail.
As soon as you get over that hurdle, the rest of them come much easier. But this is a classic Loud execute. We've seen this many times. It's beautiful. 2 walls sprung up as well. It carves a path directly into the C site, and a repush from Mazine is punished immediately. Lex, he knows to hold it. Window covered, garage covered. There's a reclear that's called very quickly from Furia. 3 players now looking to try and make their mark. Regain that territory. They push it back out. And they want to attempt this retake, but it's one thing to attempt it, another thing to actually do it. It's so damn hard. Look at it, the layers of the walls, the cascade, the orb, the snake bites. You can't push through it. It's so damn hard. And the time getting lower and lower. You just have to save. You just have to run away.
That has got to sting. Furia sent a double flank last round. From Dujazine and MW, they were playing up aggressive in A lobby. They managed to wrap around to C-Long, and that was how the retake ended up having some legs to it, because they were approaching from avenues where you don't have that layered utility with cascades and snake bites and viper orbs in the face. These comps are very attack-sided.
Yeah.
And Furia themselves are an attack-sided team. I don't want to say that some level of comeback is impossible in the next half, but if it continues like this, it will be.
And this is a Loud team that's possessed. Determined as well. Earlier today, it's Fnatic who actually qualified for Tokyo themselves with their win. And you know Loud want that revenge match. You know they want to land themselves that spot at Masters.
Absolutely.
To bring it to the team that denied them their chance of history at the lock-in finals.
That will be the only thing on their mind during this game. Get to Tokyo, get to champs. Dismiss their Brazilian rivals, and at the moment, barely a hurdle, Furia.
Tucked to the corner, this is Khalil. Slightly adjacent. It's not a common position that you would clear. There's going to be a Trailblazer that's used. The Viper wall also going up, pushes them all the way back.
And look how much more proactive Furia are being with their utility now compared to those first 5 rounds. It's forcing out Trailblazer and High Tide really early on. But that also gives Sadak more opportunities for his mid-rounding, because that little bit of pressure is pulling all of the utility out of MW and Mazine. And now, as he resets, Furia left scrambling. And look at the positioning of QCK. They've just given C completely.
Completely given up.
That doesn't seem reasonable to me when you know that Sadak is just going to be pumping utility in. Oh!
Reclearance to Dujazine does land it. An attempt here. Looks like they were trying to fake the presence towards C with the Reckoning on top of it. Dujazine with that reclearance. He's bought his team a bit of breathing room, but now the fast rotation. 30 seconds left, and there is some chaos in the round. MW. How has he slunk himself into this position, deep into mid, all the way behind Aspas? He doesn't even know it. Yeah, taken out. Stab in the back.
He's using Seekers in spawn. They don't know which direction Loud are even in, but because of the elaboracy of the fake.
Yeah, collected together now onto the side. They don't really have too much control of any of the other extremities of C. A decision needs to be made here. The comp is quite good at trying to stave off these retakes, but they have that player disadvantage by 2. That was in low enough that he will go down to a single shot. It's aggression. Flash play deep into the spawn. Still low though, but he's evened it out ever so slightly. Wall now falls. Smoke still in his face. The fight needs to be taken, and it's not clean. It's not clean at all. Where's the coverage, Mazine? Last one left. A wide swing, a wide face. He wins it out. 3 in a round, securing it just in time.
Those are the kind of rounds that are going to bring up the confidence levels for Furia. Normally these players play with incredible amounts of confidence and creativity. I feel like that has been dampened a lot, but this round will help. They managed to navigate a wild fake play called by Sarak.
Yeah, I mean,
they caught the lurkers. Aspas was caught as well, and then Mazine winning what was a 1v2 towards the end.
I really do respect the calling there from Sadak. I mean, he anticipates that they're going to be, I think, stacking towards C pretty heavily with the Reckoning, just because of how hard the retake was in the previous round. He assumes that they're going to be making those adjustments, but they don't.
This is an interesting Viper's Pit.
This is interesting. I mean, look at how much space that has taken up.
I mean, the whole of Garage is off limits. And Khalil's moved over to A. They also have the lockdown for A retakes, really trying to funnel them towards that side of the map. But Lauda going B, where Wade, Mazine, and MW.
It's a really interesting setup. Bullets raining down into Garage, hoping for a lucky kill. High Tide now going to be fading away. Cascade, Trailblazer gets broken as well.
That's messy from MW. The bird there finds nothing.
Backing away from Loud now. Furia doing well to not give up any of the opening picks that they were doing prior to the first few rounds. They've left it into that 5-on-5, but barreling ahead. It's Loud who want to take all the space towards A. Dog clearance all the way down. Nano swarms. Popped off, and MW holds his ground there. Cove didn't blossom and bloom in time, so 2 years gets his head taken clean off, but a lockdown should grant them at least some space here. Furia willing to fight it. Detainment, probably going to be catching onto them. Viper's Pit dropped down as a response. Bit of spray, bit of random spam. No way, the Nano Swarm takes out Khalil. Trying to punish that one. Still alive in the fight now with the Reckoning though. Should be giving them a good indicator as well. They can follow the golden trails above their heads. They'll be spamming into the common positions. Aspas low, 1 bullet. Might just about do it here, being healed up here and there. Shorty, where did that come from? Straight to the head. Mazine's trying to stick to the fuse. Sadak with a spray down. Lands 2. And how the hell did Loud salvage that?
I'm loving what Loud are throwing into these rounds. Even in round 8, where they ended up losing it to Mazine, they still had the creativity, down a couple of players, to go for a flash play aggressive on C. This time on A, Sadak popping the Viper's Pit, knowing he's going to get detained, and the rest of them flooding in. There was enormous amounts of pressure from the Reckoning. And yet Aspas dances around.
I just don't know how they survived that. Yeah.
Potentially a lack of confidence from Furia, because they should have been caught dead to rights. Here it is again though, you can't blame that.
Oh.
I mean, that's a lot of confidence, swinging through the snake bite, but he does go down. Mazine caught, it's an eco from Furia, and Loud, they just shove it into A.
Yeah. Determined to get that 8th round on the board.
And this has been an extra...
Oh, what? Mazine! I mean, talk about a misinput.
That's just a misclick, right click.
I mean, it's got to be, man. It's got to be. I think he just saw a glimpse of someone's body and then just hit the right mouse button. Wow. Knife sent flying.
I mean, I've never seen Furia shook like this.
This is a lack of confidence on a fundamental level.
But at the same time, it's surprising and yet somewhat expected. When you see the regional rivalries like this, it's so easy to get into your own head.
One enemy remaining.
Get a little baited out there trying to get funky with the shorty. Yeah. Loud have this aura about them. When they are playing like this, and when they are playing specifically against Brazilian teams, Loud have never lost to another Brazilian team. Never. In their org's history, they have always made it to the big global events. They won champs. They were rounds away from winning lock-in as well, and being the first team to back-to-back. This team has an aura around them that allows them to get away with more than other teams would. But they deserve it. They've earned it.
Get out of my way.
Sometimes, if you're a team like Furia in this position, you've got to throw that caution to the wind. Blaze storms in Aspas' hands. What can he do with them? Dash is there. Close to the corner, onto the bricks. No one's clearing it. MW doesn't know which way to look. Up, down, sideways, left, right. Doesn't matter. Furia still containing.
But I like that from Dejazine. Dejazine refought that situation. And he was able to bring things into a 4v3 where Furia are favored. Loud have a lot of space over towards A, but there's 3 people ready to fend them off. This round looks good from the team that only has 2 on the board right now.
There's the taking. Advantage. Oh, no way. How does Les think to clear that? I mean, seriously. Well, it's answered back.
Spike down A.
Lockdown's used. Fight from QCK. Easily won. Spike's in the middle of nowhere, though. Mazine, knives out. Oh, Les. You gotta get your gun out there, son, but... Oh, Mazine.
Good timing.
Yeah, it gets the read there that there's gonna be that reflank attempt, so...
Last round before the switch.
There are these moments, these flashes of Furia, of what we've seen from them even yesterday, when they utterly dismissed Leviathan on map 1 and map 3. But it is only flashes. Loud, at this point, have put up such a good record at the start of this map. They might have already done the hard work. I do think, though, that these compositions are going to be attack-sided. So if Furia can get 4 on the board, things are still going all right for them.
It's a possibility.
Despite what it might appear.
Yeah, it feels so incredibly one-sided.
Toxin screen down.
Walls propped up towards A. Just from that early bit of utility, it was chucked this way, that way.
They're actually, Furia, getting a lot of value out of trap plays, like the one they currently have in Garage. We'll see whether Loud end up in that direction, currently pressuring B. And it looks like they are going to be heading towards Garage here. Keep your eye on how QCK and Khalil are playing. Remember the bait and switch that happened in A long?
I see something similar. Khalil, deep tucked into this corner. QCK just trying to bait and grab all the attention here. Khalil, oh, it all comes down to this. Cut noise, it's a clearance. Aware of it, QCK, he needed to answer back, he needed to respond. Bullets hammering them. There's that trade, but brought down. Still a high tide as well to replace it. Now to try and offset some of that aggression. Loud, they take their sights on a different area of the map. Full rotation now over towards A. But Les has been creeping. He's been set up into this forward position. And he is, of course, going to be capitalizing.
His aim is so clean.
It's not rushed in the slightest.
Spike planted.
Hard clearance there, so Mazine does take the right timing for that fight. But last round and a half, Mazine might as well take it. Attempt it, that 1v3. But he's got to get through all this util. Look at this high tide in his face. He's got a cascade to try and create an opening. Push his way back, but it's a snake bite instantaneously. And Mazine's so worried. Thinks there could be a player flanking. He doesn't really have any information at all. It feels futile. And it would just take, yeah, something outlandish for him to win that one. 9-3, that's what Loud have secured themselves. Complex feel attack-sided, but this is such a heavy lead. Josh, I mean, it just feels like Loud, they didn't come to play, man, they just came to win.
Yeah. Especially when you look at the way that Kawanzine is playing. To me, he's been so incredibly impressive. Everybody on Loud has, though. Les hitting some top-tier shots here, making Dejazine and MW look like paltry specimens on the other side.
It's, yeah, it's quite dominant. Well, enough for that first half. Let's send it down to the desk to break it all down so far.
I've ever heard of the phrase paltry specimens used in a sentence, but sideshow, you know, we just move on with it. That being said, speaking of moving on, feels like Loud kind of wants to do that here because of the way they started this one off, Mimi. They looked so dominant at the beginning. I'm just glad the Furia were able to at least get a few rounds.
Yeah, some of those first few rounds, it looked really unlike what we've come to expect from Furia, where they're normally so willing to play forward, take these risks. Instead, they were really committing to anchoring on site and playing super passive on this defense. And it meant that Loud was just rolling them over with these site executes consistently, which are so well done in the composition. And on top of that, Sadak was just calling a really nice game in the first half.
Yeah, he was. And something that's very interesting about this position is strong ultimates, like Harbor's ultimate, Killjoy's ultimate, Sky's ultimate. So he was just able to snowball this during the match.
Yeah.
He was able to start the game with some more fast rounds, and he slowed a little bit the pace, and he was just able to control the team, and he was always one step ahead of Furia.
He was, and it really is what makes his comp so strong. But that's a lot harder to do on this defensive side. And Furia have gotten things to 9-3, which isn't a completely unreasonable half, with both these squads mirrored in a very attack-sided comp, with Furia being better on that side of the map. Still, what I'm looking to see is the confidence that did reawaken right towards the end. You saw that double bait setup in Long on the second to last round. You saw the round in Garage where they're willing to get a little bit more aggressive. It feels like Furia have opened the door, but it has to start with a pistol round if they want to do more.
Oh, hands down. They need these next few rounds. These next 2 rounds are going to be so instrumental, and pay attention. We'll see how's Furia's demeanor after those 2 rounds. If they pick up the win, it'll be huge for them. Let's send it back over to the casters to get us through that second half.
Let's see a bit more confidence now from Furia as we head into this pistol round. There's always a chance, of course, if they end up winning that, they could maybe string together a couple of rounds.
Possible. But I think even what we saw from them was a passive way of getting value from the traps rather than their usual aggression. This is going to be a big clash, though, in mid.
Another fight into mid with the Cascade pushed up. It's just a bit of spam with the Ghost here, but it's a pop flash play. They want to fight it right into the mist. Towards every single player. Blind as a bat on the side of Furia. QCK still alive, but less re-swinging to take the fight. From that one angle, there was no coverage, nobody watching the double doors, and it's left into a 2v3. MW's on 1 HP. No heal in sight, of course. Furia forced to slow things all the way down. In the middle of this round, down to about a minute here. Playing together, hoping that they're granted a chance to get a freebie, any sort of kill, to even it up, maybe get the plant down.
They've found a nice gap.
Yeah, this is quite good.
I mean, at any point here, they could be meeting resistance from a Loud player. But as we can tell, Sadak tucked into short. And instead of going towards A, they're just clearing out the A connector so they know that they can plant and have a safe post-plant position.
They get themselves into it.
Here comes Sadak, though.
Yeah. Aspar's low enough that he could go down to a single shot, but this fight from Sadak here, close to the corner. He's got armor. MW takes the first contact. He was low enough, and Sadak, well, I mean, overkill. Core Karma collected, isn't he? IGL, I mean, no stranger to positions like this. When the pressure's really mounting in these tense scenarios, no. It's just, it just feels like a regular season match early on for Loud.
To me, it actually doesn't. I understand what you're saying in terms of them not having any pressure on them.
Oh, but not how they were playing.
But to me, Loud plays better in big games. That's why this feels like playoff Loud to me, because they play up to the moment. We heard from Cowanzine earlier on, where he was talking about the pressure of filling in for, you know, the legends, Sassy and Pancada. And Cowanzine said, the pressure's always there. It just makes us more eager to win, more eager to lift that championship trophy at the end of the year. That's the attitude that these guys have, even the newer players on the team. Championship mentality.
What you absolutely need. Wall is a little bit off there with a high tide. There's a slight gap towards short. You can see them shoring up the defensive, the orbs as well, just trying to sow chaos into the site. I mean, Lord knows what's happening here. It's all over the place. So much within their sight, within their grasp. Sadak round to the side with a Spectre. And the Furia force down to 2. Weak enough. MW will really go down to a single shot. Tap of the spike. Look at Loud, not willing to put their foot off the gas here for about a moment, but they do find a break in the play, at least to get that spike down now. So Furia set themselves up into the post plant.
Les has got to be a little cautious here. He can't drop unless he lands on the box.
Heaven taken on 10 HP. His head just dips over, so the force from Furia on the cusp. Play together now. A bit of discipline from Furia should sail them to round win. Spam onto the box. Orb up. The Guardian. Anything's possible with Aspas. Anything is possible. We've seen this guy just commit. Wow. Absolute murder across, but he is denied there. So Furia, with the force, it was necessary for any chance of trying to salvage, claim a couple of more rounds into this map and try and extend the play. They do at least buy that breathing room.
QCK had 1 HP remaining after he took a body shot from the Guardian. That might have been the difference maker there that grants Furia another chance. Loud are going to get knocked down. They have so many opportunities coming up to get the ball rolling again and start the momentum. All of the pressure is on Furia right now. This is their map pick. Haven has looked really strong for them. Yes, Loud have not lost on any of the maps they're playing today.
An attempt was made, Aspas!
Oh, and for good reason.
You've got to be joking! Sadek as well. Just when all of their attention is isolated on that one player, the Jet Star, the superstar for Loud. He, of course, strikes back to the side. And just like that, it's turned into a 2-on-2. Les has picked up a rifle in the middle of all of this.
And Aspas is still hiding. He's repositioned down towards short.
And does this get cleared?
He's so weak, though.
For MW, he is weak. It's a one and done. For good reason. MW. What a flick. Runs past Flick, yep, straight to the side. Aspas removed, but still winnable for less.
So winnable. Phantom in hand, coming from an unexpected direction. Does MW choose to invest the Seeker?
That's the question, isn't it? It'll give him good information.
And the flash gives him bad.
Yeah, well, he knows they're not towards A long. So he's got his sight set up onto that short angle, but he doesn't win the fight. Unless he's capable in the clutch. Brought it down to a one-on-one. Turret spots the positioning. He knows where QCK is. Jiggle of the fight! Les is so damn clean.
Les has really turned up today. And that, I think, is a death blow for Furia. The clutch, the thrifty. Loud respond instantly as soon as they're forced down onto that light buy. And Aspas just popping a couple of heads here.
He's ridiculous.
Yeah.
He's ridiculous.
And all of the pressure that he creates allows for avenues like Sadak to come in there. Yeah. Pop another couple of heads. Les is 18-6, and look what it means to Carlisle. Look what it means to Furia.
Don't overthink it. That's my job.
These are the moments where you feel that trip to Tokyo slip away.
Yeah. Going up against the final boss of Aspas, the final boss of Loud. Giving off those vibes of the walkout music earlier. Making me want to run through walls. High tide. I know a bit of space here. Furia willing to contact.
Plant the spike.
But they do not have the guns for the job here. And Loud are one round away. We're getting on that map point. Dash forward from the Jazine, holding close to it. Kawazine, he has been that spearhead. Les relieves, swinging wide. All the confidence in the world. They know they can take these fights, they know they can win them, and the coverage is there. Crossfire setups, snake bite into the corner. It just feels inevitable.
Toxins going up. Match point.
Loud created the Harbor Viper meta. Loud have perfected the Harbor Viper meta. They're making Furia look like pretenders to the crown. I mean, Loud are just so in control of this game. And there is a gap. Mental or otherwise. But Furia cannot get themselves into this. And I think this is going to be a major blow for them moving further throughout the map pool here too. They had chances. I mean, the map pool looks good for Furia, but if they're getting blown out like this on Haven, how do you pick yourself back up?
Yeah, to reset from one map to the other is quite a task. One thing to do it in the regular season, another thing entirely in the playoffs when you're playing for that chance of making a global event, to make Tokyo, to make champs. That's what they're playing for. But Loud pushing forwards. Kawazine, deep A lobby control. It's gained, but backs away. They still leave Aspas in this forward position. In fact, Aspas makes the call for a flash to try and set him up, help him out. Loses the fight. Kawazine responds. He needs to get out alive, though. Trailblazer, dog to the side. Stun does not connect. Kawazine, I mean, he's still so willing to take these fights. He's alone right now. And it looks like he wants to pop flash and set himself up onto the angle. And he does just that. Lovely tech. Flash gliding against the wall, sets himself up for another one, and now backing away with the rest of his team. And to shore up the defenses on the rest of the map, it's a 3v4 on the precipice.
30 seconds left.
Giving up the A side, though.
Blocking sight.
And this is where the post plans should really become dangerous, but without the Viper, you actually lose a lot of that. And they don't have the Harbor either. Those are the big two tools.
Lockdown. MW realized the play needed to be made. You had to be aggressive because It's the only other way to stop this kind of ultimate. It's going to tear its way through. The post-plant positioning is so obvious. The Reckoning close to the corner. Djazine has nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. The snake bites. He's just being moved and corralled this way, that way. Absolutely nothing to be done. It's left up to one. Khalil in a 1v3. Cove hiding, obfuscating. 2 years sticks. 13-4. And if you're going to bring it to Loud on Haven, you're going to come with a little bit more than that. That is them taking map number 1.
You have just witnessed some superb dominance from Loud. That map was a statement not for Furia. That map was a statement to everybody else out there in the world that is looking towards Loud and hoping to deny them on this run to Tokyo, to champs, to lift trophies. Maps like that should make you scared to face this team.
Yeah.
That was ridiculous.
Starting to see the evidence as well of Playoff Loud being that different beast entirely, because the level up from their usual play regular season, okay, maybe they're taking it a little bit more lightly. At the end of the day, these regular splits can be a bit like marathons. You've got to pace yourself, but the important point is how you finish. And they did not leave any sort of openings whatsoever for Furia.
Brent, Aspas only had 9 kills. He wasn't even required.
Yeah.
The final boss, didn't have to do anything.
We're stepping away, but up next, GB and the analysts are going to be breaking down map number 1. Don't go anywhere. You know you don't want to miss it.
What is this from EA? He is currently unstoppable. True. He is just a consistent demon. El Diablo.
Hey guys, it's EA. Welcome to my course on optimal Valorant training. I'm going to be demonstrating now some angle clearing. I'll slowly come around the corner as well, making sure no one's on these off angles.
Red Bull gives you wings. Red Bull gives you wings.